Fair use.
Do you have a hobby, sister? I do not have a hobby.
Okay.
Unless like
Do you want to get
socializing.
one or no?
Not really. A hobby to me feels like just something else to do. I'm just
Sister, I'm like too.
yeah.
Hobbies feel like work to me.
Same. Exactly. I want to just like hang out and talk to people. I don't want to be doing something.
These are some Dominican sisters, and I thought this was interesting that they don't have hobbies, and it makes practical sense if you're in the nunnery. What hobbies would you have besides spiritual practice? And I do think hobbies can become like work. You invest so much time, money, energy, driving, all this stuff just to do these little hobbies. But like everything, it's a paradox. I don't know if necessarily moving into the nunnery for a person is that helpful because you're not out in the world experiencing things. You're kind of in the ivory tower. And I always wonder about that if you go in too worldly and it's not going to work out, or you go the other way, too innocent and you haven't experienced the world. But I do like the simplicity of something like this, that you're not possessed by your possessions. You don't have things to do besides your spiritual practice. But in a practical sense, people have families in this sort of thing. So I think usually the answer, the middle path, is the way in life. So this is kind of like the extreme version. And then there's the other version, like kind of the fair weather Christian style of showing up to church a couple times a year. So there's gradients, a spectrum in between. And as I get older, I'm getting less and less hobbies. I'm dropping off hobbies. I'm not trying to pick up new hobbies. I actually hate picking up new hobbies. I picked up a more serious cigar hobby in 2023, and I regret it because I've wasted so much time, energy, money hunting for cigars, this and that, getting cigar accessories, talking with people about cigars, smoking cigars. It's it creates this whole system of things that are floating around you. So every hobby you get, everything you like, and it's kind of always comparing this is better than that, etc. Or you enjoy doing certain things, you don't enjoy other things. Like comparison is a thief of joy. So as I'm getting older, I'm dropping off hobbies. Like my main hobby now I want to focus on is just being a father, this channel in a way of just kind of like my own spiritual development, and maybe someone can learn something. Not really interested in much else. Maybe, staying in shape just for health purposes, but I don't really have hobbies anymore. It's kind of dwindling. I don't even like to read that much anymore. I'm surrounded by all these books that I used to buy. I used to love to read. I still do. I've been trying to get back to it. I was reading a book a day almost at one point, and now I haven't read a book like in completeness in probably 6 months. I think for a lot of men in particular, work becomes a hobby because we're trying to move forward. So it's interesting where these nuns, they're outside the matrix. They're don't need the material world, but in a weird way they do, right? They still need to eat. They still need to do the normal worldly things. I still remember I was at uh, a kind of Hindu style nunnery that offered classes and things. And I remember I ran into some of the sisters from there in Costco, and they were in their garb and they were like whipping around. And one of the nuns, the head nun, is like pointing at what she wanted them to load these giant crates full of, because they're like getting enough food for the whole nunnery essentially. And it was kind of funny to see them out of place. And there you could feel the stress ball they all had. They had this kind of anxiety because they're like outside the walls of the nunnery. And it was funny to watch because they all buzzing about like scared bees. It was like they wanted to like hurry up and do their worldly thing and get right back to the nunnery. But it was funny because even for them, that's their whole thing. It was they still had to interact with the world. There's still a connection to the world. You can't be completely separate. No man is an island. You are connected to others. You are connected to the world. So I always find this interesting because even the irony of doing this podcast is they've got a microphone. Obviously, someone's doing this work for them, um, to get for us to watch this right now. So it's a very ironic thing. But I like it. I like that we're able to watch this and get their opinions. Hobbies over the years, and I always find myself passing from them at a certain point. I kind of drop off, and then I'm surrounded with items from the previous hobby. And I remember I was going to take up a musical instrument, violin, and then the teacher wanted, I took one class, but they wanted me to kind of commit and buy one and this and that. And I kind of was honest with her, where it was like, well, I know how I am. I'm kind of the burn the boats type person. I don't really want to do this unless I'm going to be practicing 3, 5 days a week kind of thing. I don't want to do this and just have something, a violin sitting in the corner. It's like the exercise bike that becomes a clothes hanger with a realize that about the hobby thing. It's like a collection. It's like a possession. You keep trying to do something and you keep collecting them and discarding them and on to the next one. So there's a wisdom in that, I don't have hobbies. And honestly, I think not having to deal with computers and this and that, I'm sure these nuns have someone else that's doing all the editing. That's the killer, is having to do all this digital work. Humans, we were on the savannah, we were, herding sheep and goats through the mountains. We're physical beings. We were never meant with all this computerized stuff. So it's actually probably more to life how things were. There was a fire, people sat around and talked. There wasn't TV, there wasn't all this electronics. So it's actually probably more true to our nature actually. So I find there's a hidden cost with hobbies. It's always more time and money than you expected. You get wrapped up in it. You had to buy one thing, now you have to buy something else you didn't know about. Before you know it, you're getting sunk cost fallacy starts to come into place. It's really possessions in a way. The hobby is just a abstract version of possession.